All right. So everybody, thanks so much for listening to us here on Fire, Breathe, and Rob. If you're listening to us for the first time, please like and subscribe, whichever platform you're listening to us. We really appreciate it. It's a really impressive story. He's going to tell you his whole story. And if you don't know about David Brown, definitely search about him. It's really a great story, and he's really kicking butt while he's running. So, David, first of all, thanks so much for coming on. I'm really honored to have you on, and I'm excited about this.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for having me. Thanks for reaching out.
All right, so David, first of all, I kind of gave the viewers a little bit of a very small taste of what you're about. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, well, I'm originally from Missouri, but I live out in California. I run track. I'm a Paralympic athlete. I'm totally blind. I've been to 3 games so far, for the Paralympics, represented my country in 2012, 16, and in Tokyo. I'm a former world record holder at the 100 meters. I still hold the world record in the 200 meters. I was the first totally blind athlete under 11 seconds. And I went like at least 5 years, 5, 6 years undefeated. So,
Through coronavirus, it's been tough for everybody, whether it's mental health issues. I'm sure for you, it's been hard because there was all that social distancing and you weren't able to practice like you would be during normal times. Can you talk about how the coronavirus affected you at the beginning and even how it's still affecting you?
yeah. So what was going on at that time when COVID hit? We were gearing up for the games. It was, of course, in March. Everybody knows that. So where I was here in California. I was at the training center. My coach came up to me, my guide. He was like, "Hey guys, just to let you know, there's rumors going around that the games may be canceled." And of course, my mindset is no matter what comes, I'm going to be ready and prepared. So I'm just like, all right, whatever, let's just keep on training. And when they told us that the games were going to be canceled, I was like, okay, well, what time are we practicing? What are we doing today? Because we got to be ready if they call it back on. We got to be ready if they push it to next month, whatever. We got to be ready for whatever comes, even if they push it back further. But then eventually, things just started shutting down. Even the training center shut down. And I was living on the training center site at that time, but I ended up moving off site just for the sake of training because a lot of the athletes that were living on site, they weren't able to train. So I moved off site so I can keep training. And during that period of time, I actually gained a lot of knowledge about myself in the sense of nutrition. And I got to get back to just training how I love to train. I got to do my own workouts. I lost 15 pounds and I gained muscle. Like I was super shredded through that whole period of time. And when the games came around, and when I say the games, like the time where the games would have been, I was in, you could say, race shape, even though I wasn't even on the track. And continuing through this year, just pretty much building on top of what I established through the whole pandemic. Me and my coach, we continued to put volume in, but then this time we were able to switch over to the track. I linked back up with new guides and old guides at the same time, and we just continued to build on top of what we established last season going into this season, and it's been a benefit, so pretty much we're still riding that from last year and making sure we're continuing to move forward.
Right. So, again, for people that are just tuning in, this is David Brown, an Olympian. Definitely check him out, look him up. It's really incredible. I hope people keep listening into the conversation because we do have a lot left to talk about. Going back to growing up, so you did come down with Kawasaki disease at 15 months. And then obviously that led into some surgeries and a lot of other issues. Can you go and tell the viewers a little bit about that and how all that transpired?
Yeah, so Kawasaki's disease is an autoimmune disease. They still don't really know how you get it to this day. I got it at 15 months old, and it is pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? It's pretty, you find it a lot in males at that around that age too. I was one of them guys, I guess. And it can attack your inner organs, but mine, the Kawasaki disease, it attacked my eyes. And that's rare in itself too. And it gave me glaucoma. So 3 years old, I had a surgery for my left eye, caused it to shrink into its eye socket. And I ended up having a prosthetic shell put into my left eye, 6 years later. So I was 9 years old, so those 6 years I was living with kind of a hole in my eye, not even really understanding why too. And then 6 years old, my vision started decreasing in my right eye. Did that for about 7 years, and it left me with limited sight. I only have light perception, and I can see shapes, shadows, and colors in my right eye.
Yeah. So when we go back to this, and obviously growing up with these experiences, it must have been extremely hard. But when did you find out that sports in general, but especially running, obviously, was your sport?
Well, sports, it came around when I was, 3 years old. I grew up in a sports-based kind of, sports-based family. My mom, she played basketball and volleyball when she was growing up. My sister, she played basketball and volleyball through school. My cousin, he played basketball. Everybody who I grew up around, they played some sort of sport. So I was always active, and sports was, and still is, big within my family. Running came around when I was 6, when I started losing my sight. When after that right eye incident started happening, because I was playing basketball for the YMCA up until then. And all of a sudden I just started getting hit in the face with the basketball. I couldn't see the ball anymore, but I was able to see in order to run and I guess you can say play on the playground with my friends. So I started running and sprinting, having little foot races with my friends. And that was, the run down to the end of the playground and then run back, so that kind of sprinting. And I got into track when I attended the Missouri School for the Blind. I was 11 years old. They had a track team there. And that's when I actually found out, blind people can do sports. And I got into track, I got into wrestling, I got into a sport called goalball. I tried swimming, but I sank a lot, so I stopped that. And I did forensics as well.
In your life, running and stuff, how did you put all that negativity aside and just basically crush everybody that doubted you?
Well, who said I put it aside?
Okay.
I actually used it as fuel.
True.
So instead of actually just being like, I'm just going to dust them off, I incorporated that and allowed that to push me forward. So instead of being like, I'm going to dust my haters off, I'm like, all right, I'm going to let you sit right there on my shoulder and tell me that I can't do it. And that's going to be, my fuel and my gate, boom, there I go, just go forward and push beyond what you think I can do. And not only that, push beyond what I think and believe I can do. Because we are, and it's true too, that when it comes to this is one thing I'm still learning. We are our own biggest enemies. So it's like, okay, look, I don't need you to tell me that I can't do it, because right now I already feel like I can't do it. So I'm going to use that in order to push me forward, because I feel like I can't do it. And I need to prove, or I know I can. So I'm going to have to push beyond that.
So when we go into this, and if you could talk about the relationship with your guide, Jerome, you've worked with him for quite a long time. How did that relationship start, and how does it continue to really grow throughout the years and winning all these races with him?
Yeah, so sadly, Jerome and I were no longer chatting with each other, and we're no longer working alongside each other. I do have other guides that I'm working with now, but how Jerome and I paired up together in 2014, I was in need of a guide at that time, and Jerome was still living and training at the training center as well. And so I paired up with him because I was in need of a guide. My coach saw what could potentially become of, our partnership. And so we continued to run together from then. And after, no, at that point, Jerome was guiding for over a decade. And I guess he's still trying to guide to this day. I really don't know. I haven't chatted with him since July. That's a different story in itself. But, you know, at that point, he was a guide running over a decade. So pairing up with him, it was super easy and simple to come into partnership with him and get on board with, you know, guiding, you know, having him guide me and stuff like that. The rest was just me learning how to sprint, because when I moved to the training center in 2012 for the first time, I was at ground zero when it came to sprinting. I didn't know that, you know, guide running, sprinting, and even just sprinting in general has so much involved. And how we run at the blind school compared to how we run here on the professional level is, it's day and night. It's very different. So I didn't know what I was doing at all. And so when I paired up with Jerome, it was just me continuing to learn how to sprint and how to, you know, I guess you could say, allow myself to be guided. Even with the guides that I ran with prior to Jerome, it was the same thing, just me trying to learn how to, you know, get one foot in front of the other and learn my technique and who I am as a sprinter. And honestly, a lot of that stuff didn't come until last year during quarantine. Another thing that happened, another benefit for me that happened, not only just losing those 15 pounds and becoming just super shredded, I learned how to run straight. I learned how to piece all the things that I was trying to learn, you know, together. And I became, I feel, a sprinter and an athlete, because it's like, okay, I now understand what I need to do in order to be able to maximize, you know, my sprinting, you know, my my recovery, my abilities, my power, all that stuff, how to utilize all of it.
So, you know, I know you say you're not working with Jerome now, David, but my question is now, with the new guides that you're working, how do you make sure that you're picking that one guide that will help you and continue to lead you into successful races and events in general?
Yeah, so how we did it this year, because we had to open up, I guess you could say, tryouts for guide runners. We had to bring 2 new guides in, or shall I say, we didn't have to, but we brought 2 new guides in along with Jerome. Jerome was dealing with an injury, you know, throughout the whole year, and I was barely training with him. So we had to bring in 2 new guides. And what we ended up doing was we had a guide running camp. So these guys we already know are fast enough in the sense of, okay, you can run faster than Dave. This is why you're here. But, you know, a guide must be a certain percentage faster than the athlete in order to be able to guide effectively. So we tested them in the sense of speed. Okay, which guide is faster? Not only that, we tested them in their condition. Okay, who can recover faster and, you know, put back up the same time, if not a faster time? And we tested them also with, okay, how comfortable, how well you are guiding me at the same time, and how fast am I running with you? You know, so it's different things that we took into consideration, you know, condition, speed, as well as guide running capabilities. And these are only just a few things that we did this year. And this lasted all the way from like April to July, like I mentioned, of us testing these guides out. Of course.
First audience question is, you've had so much success. Why do you believe that is?
Well, first and foremost, you know, I give all glory and honor to God, you know, who has given me these abilities to be able to do what I'm doing and allowing me to be here today. You know, so first and foremost, all glory goes to God. And then second, I believe it's just my work ethics, the way that I work and the way that I think, the way that I grind, you know, it's very different than most. And I just don't say that as in a, like, oh yeah, I'm trying to brag on myself kind of thing. You know, other people tell me this themselves. I've gotten this from my coaches. I've gotten this from other athletes. I've gotten this from my own wife, and my wife isn't even my wife isn't even a track athlete. My wife does archery. So somebody who sees it from the outside, she's like,
Wow.
man, you're nothing like track athletes or a typical athlete. This is ridiculous. So, yeah, I mean, those are the two things, if I see what I want, the thing is just how I am mentally, it goes beyond where a lot of people is.
I appreciate you saying that. We'll move on to the next audience question. What is your favorite accomplishment that you've accomplished so far in your life?
This is dealing with sports, right?
Yeah, well, anything, I guess.
Okay, so let's do both actually. So
Sure.
dealing with sport, the biggest accomplishment, one of my favorite accomplishments actually, is becoming and breaking that door open, busting the door open for other totally blind athletes
Right.
to go under 11 seconds. I was the first one, and I tell everybody this. And just so all the listeners will know this too, though I may held the world record, and I say held, somebody broke my world record this year in Tokyo. They ran 1082. My world record was 1092. Though I held the world record in 100 meters, I never really liked the 100 meters. It's so technical. My favorite race is actually the 200 and the 400. I just did the 100 meters because I was good at it, and because I wanted to be that first one under the 11-second barrier. I wanted to be the one that helped open that door, bust the door open, like I said, for other blind athletes to be able to go under 11 seconds and show them like, yo, this is possible. This is doable, guys. Let's do this, because it hasn't been done for like 7 years until I did it. So I was like, yo, I can do this. And boom, you can do this too. And now that it's happening, it's great. Off of the track, one of my biggest accomplishments, I would say, or that I looked at is for 2017-2018 season was a very hard season for me because I was doing massage therapy school, and the hours that I had to put in for that was very, very brutal, super brutal. And the fact that that year I still won. I still came out on top that year in competition, which was amazing. It was great. And my recovery was awesome because, of course, I'm here in massage therapy school. But the hours as far as like studying, going to school, the time I would get home versus the time I had to wake up, and then I had to try to get training on top of all that, it was hard. But I got my license though. Hey.
Hey man, that's incredible. Not only do you run, but you're a massage therapist. I mean, what other tricks do you have up your sleeve, David, that maybe the audience doesn't know?
Well, I just got certified in jump rope as well. So I'm a certified jump rope trainer. And I just launched my business alongside of my wife, which is Team DR Brown. And we're focusing around jump rope fitness. And we're going to be putting out workouts and stuff like that. So keep a lookout for that. We're in the process of putting our website together and hopefully launching that soon next month. Well, yeah, next month or February.
Wow. Yeah, it's great. So there's a lot on the up and up with the Browns right now. So definitely keep that in mind if you're listening. And we're going to move on to these last couple questions. With the last couple questions, one of them was, what's up next for you? But I feel like every time we keep talking, you say all kinds of new different things. Now it's a seminary school, jump roping. I mean, you're a man of many different traits. Man. We'll just say that.
And there's one more thing too, actually. I just I'm actually cross training with the blind soccer team. So I'm so I'm building towards going to Los Angeles 2028 with the blind soccer team here in America, USA. We're going to be traveling internationally next year, representing our country at the different tournaments. And this is just a new development of the team back in 2019 before Corona started, hitting and stuff like that. So we finally have a blind soccer team here in the USA. So I'm still running track. You know, Paris will be my last time running track for the USA. But yeah, I'm training with the blind soccer team, and yeah, I'll go USA.
Wow. I mean, it's incredible. We go from, running, track to soccer to jump rope to seminary school to your own business with your wife to the massage therapy. I mean, dang, you're all over the place, man. God bless you. It's incredible. But anyways, we'll go to the end with these last two questions. What do you hope people learn from this interview we had today?
Honestly, I hope people learn that, you can be your own biggest enemy, but you can also be your own biggest supporter. You can put your mind to anything, to do anything, but at the end of the day, what comes down to it is putting the work in. Everybody looks at the end goal. Personally, I like the grind. I love the journey, and I love the train. That's one thing. So it's like, if I don't ever compete, it's okay with me, because I like to train. I like to continue to push myself and improve on myself, through that, through the grind, and continue to put work in. So, at the end of the day, like I said, put your mind to doing something, but not only that, put the work into doing something.
Yeah, David, you're an inspiration to everybody listening. Last thing before we hang up, where can people find more about you? Do we have a website, social media, anything?
Yeah, so right now, I do have a social media. I'm on Instagram, at that boy D Brown, and I'm on Twitter as well. And I do have a Facebook fan page. I do have a website right now, and that's in the process of being converted over to the Team DR Brown LLC website. But the website that I have right now is iamdavidrbrown.com, and you can find all my social medias on there.
All right, David R. Brown, thanks so much for your time. I hope we can do this again down the road, because I'm sure you'll have many different stories to tell if we do this again.
Yeah, you have my contact information. Feel free to, reach out at any time. This was great.
Sure.